Well, I'm Shuri, and I am the founder and CEO of Coca Rock and Cannabis. Wow. So I'm actually one of those ones that was a goody two-shoes, and I didn't start smoking until I was 18. Yeah, well, maybe like 17 and a half, I would say. Oh my gosh, senior year. I remember it like it was yesterday, honestly. So some people, and like I remember I actually questioned this with people because I didn't know if it was accurate. I was asking if people smoke their first time and actually get high, and I've had so many people tell me that they didn't. And I know that's what's telling me that we maybe did something wrong. So like, cause like I smoked, threw up, didn't feel anything, but everybody around me was high, but they all looked like animals. So like, let's be real, they were probably all faking because we were just trying to pretend like we were. But my real experience, like my real cannabis experience, wow, I was so lit. I actually had problems walking. I remember that. Also, granted, the reason I started smoking is because I got hit by a car. So I was like kind of addicted to opioids at that time a little bit, and I was noticing an addiction. So my friend introduced me to cannabis, and then she was like, here, try it out. Like, you know, I was like, I tried that before. We tried to do it back at the party a few months back. It didn't work. And she's like, let's actually try it again. And wow, like the experience was mind blowing. Like I was floating. Like I said, I could barely walk. I had crutches, but like still stability was a little challenging. Yeah, I don't know. It was just, it was mind blowing. It was evolutionary. It was physically out of this world. And munchies I've never had munchies like that. Like you never have munchies like you do on your first time ever smoking. Like it was lit. So what's really cool is my friend's parents were a stoner, but we didn't know that they were stoners until 2 years of us smoking. So we hid it from them for 2 whole years, but they knew obviously what people high were like because they themselves smoke weed. So they made us a cheese plate. One of the most gourmet cheese plates of my life, now that I think about it. And like, if you like, it was the best. It was probably made with like Kraft singles. Like it could have been made like with like the dumbest cheese ever, but at that moment, 5-star level cheese. Like I remember that shit. Maybe it had some grapes in the middle. Damn, I miss those moments. Legally?
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta ask, you know, there's legacy and legally. Legally, 3 years. No, 4 years. Wow, 4 years. Holy crap, 4 years. And I didn't think of it because, you know, with everything that's been happening, time's been standing still. But yeah, I got here, I officially started January 2017, right when legal cannabis started. So Coca Rock and Cannabis actually didn't come on into fruition until, well, it launched, I should say, March 2020. Came into the idea January 2020. I used to be a VA, so I used to be in the field. Education is education on the plan, any aspect. I love it. And so having a job for it, I was down for it. And I was in the field, and I had somebody boldly, very, very boldly approach me and question my education because of the color of my skin. And it's like, don't get me wrong, props for people for being bold and like, you know, saying their opinion, but there's a limit. And to have somebody even like not even give me the benefit of the doubt to listen, not even to really listen to me, and then just make a snap judgment based off my appearance, it shook me to my core. And I realized that if I was just experiencing this 2 years into the industry, there had to have been people who literally created this industry, who have been part of it for a lot longer than I have, who were probably feeling the same way. So I wanted to speak up, not just for myself, but for other people. Oh, no. Like, that's where people come at it. Like, I'm good at what I do. Never wanted to do this. Never, ever did I want to do this. If you would have like asked me like 2 years ago, if you would have asked me right before I started this business, if I actually thought that I was going to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, I would have been like, miss me with that, because it's extra stress. That's like you're taking on a lot, you're taking on keeping the mission alive, you're taking on the struggles that society puts on top of you. You also, if you really want to be successful, you build a team. So then you're taking on other people's livelihoods, to be able to help keep this mission that you created, alive. Like, there's a lot on top of it that I just really didn't want to add on to. And then when what happened to me happened, I was having a conversation with a friend and I realized in the middle of the conversation that people need to talk about it, because this conversation that I was having has never been brought up to me. You would think that as a colored person, I would be more aware of what was happening to people of color in the cannabis industry. I was a colored person coming from a state that it's not legal. So to be able to I'm from Minnesota. So when I came from Minnesota and I got my part in the industry, I was just blessed. I was really grateful and really, really just stuck on being in the industry. Like, people know, if you don't know people in California, you really don't got a place in the industry, So to be able to have my spot in a big spot and be able to do it, I didn't want to jeopardize it. And I didn't want to speak up too loud for myself at that moment. And it upset me later on in the day. Like, I was mad at myself later on that night, later on in the week. Like, I felt upset and stuck because I was so stuck, if that made sense. And I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want anybody else to feel that. So that's when in the middle of a conversation is when I realized we needed to put color back in cannabis, and that's where the name came out. It's just in the middle of a conversation. I said that we need to put more efforts into it. So I don't know, I like to keep things simple. Why complicate names? So just, I feel like everything, to be able to have a mission and to have a statement, it needs to be something that rolls off the tongue and that people can repeat, And so when people ask you what's wrong with, what's wrong in this industry for people of color, we don't have color in cannabis, so put color back in cannabis. Well, what does America thrive on? Money. I mean, money is always going to be the thing that pulls people together, and it's always going to be the thing that divides us. And it's always been the thing that's been the main, been the main attention for cannabis. Like, let's talk about it. We've always said that when it was illegal, statewide, and it was only medical in certain places, we talked about that if it was legal, it would make money for the state. That was our pushing, right? They've been known this, okay? So has the white man. The white man has known that money is the thing for cannabis, but they kept their nose out of it because it didn't benefit them. It didn't benefit them in any way. So then when they realized that the government finally caught on to the benefit of how much money they would make from it, of course they're going to slide in where they have the reins, they have the lead, which is on funds. I mean, at the end of the day, capital is the main reason that anybody is able to get a part in this industry. That's why equity brands are suffering the most, because they don't get access to capital as much. They don't have that, and also it's harder to get any access to capital when you have a criminal record on your history, when for it's something that people are already profiting off too. So it's very strategic. And you have to realize a lot of these people, if you really look into them, a lot of these business owners that happen to be white, that are in the industry, a lot of them don't even consume cannabis themselves. They're here for one purpose and one purpose only, to get the profit of it, because they see that it's actually being seen as that. The system was designed for us to fail. The system was designed for us to, if you look at it like this, and it's really hard because we're blinded by the fact that we are able to go to dispensaries and purchase a pre-roll, purchase an eighth, get our ounce, get our gram. We're blinded by the fact of availability. But if you look at it like this, by it being legal, now they are getting money from it being higher with the taxes, from the prices that are being raised for licenses, for testing, for packaging, for distribution. They're getting more and more money, and every time they add different bills or different props, different changes, they're still profiting from it. Your business, if you're a distribution, if you're an equity business, if you're a delivery service, whatever, your business may fluctuate, but no matter what, they're still taking in a profit. But wait, there's more. If for some reason the legal cannabis industry fails, and this all goes to shit in like 5 years, just all falls down, and we go back to being the legacy market, who's gonna get profits because of that? They are. Because they're going to be able to put more money that they took from us into policing, into catching, into raids, and they'll still collect on that. So it's a system that's designed to fail for us on that standpoint. That's why we have to be aware of that when new legislative and new bills come out for, like the MORE Act, like, for instance, if we paid more attention, well, I shouldn't say we, because I got here after, but if, people in California paid more attention to the bill that said about legalization, they would have noticed that they said that they were going to put a cap on what the THC milligrams were going to be at 200 only for medical places, and that was the cap. So that's why those 1,000 milligram edibles disappeared. They have a cap, and that's why a majority of them that you only see 100 milligram edibles, because that is the cap for adult use. And to be able to actually have more profit in the industry, you make more benefit by only making edibles up to 100 milligrams, because you'll be able to sell those. It's very rare that the places are going to be a medical and adult use storefront or delivery service, so they're not going to pick up 200 milligram edibles. They'll pick up 100 milligram edibles. So you signed that by by agreeing to be legal in California. You agreed for the edible amount to go down while the price for that edible increased. That's what people didn't pay attention to. They paid attention to the line that said it's going to be legal in California. That's what they paid attention to. They didn't pay attention to how much pricing was going to be. And that in turn affected a lot of people who really use edibles for a medical purpose. Like, think about people who are unfortunately experiencing cancer, okay? They don't want to be pumped in with drugs. Those drugs are painful. It's more painful to use something to heal you that is a pharmaceutical than it is to really kind of go with the pain naturally. So they try to use cannabis, heavy medicinal, high THC cannabis, okay, edibles. So let's say this person is used to spending $25 for a 1,000 milligram edible, okay? Well then, fast forward, June 2017 happens, legalization is fully in effect, and that $25 is only going to pay for a 100 milligram bar. So now you have to buy 10 of those. So 25 times 10, you're paying $250 for the same 1,000 milligrams that you are actually getting the medical benefit for $25. That's what you signed away. And people don't think of it like that, because they only see what? Legal cannabis. I'm able to go down the street and go ahead and get whatever eighth that I want. I'm able to call what's its face and be able to have a delivery service get here within a half hour. That's super awesome. But what is in the fine print? So like, the more that we develop, because we're in a developing industry, we need to pay attention to that. We can't just sign every bill because it looks nice. We need to really actually look at the verbiage and really understand what they're saying, because they are going to make it look better. They get trained to do that. They get paid to make everything look pretty. It's our job to pay attention to what they're writing. So there's actually, and that's what the speculation about my brand is, and I want people, and I'm kind of actually glad to be able to do this to explain it. My brand is designed to amplify minorities and organizations that are already doing the work out there, because there are so many people that are doing the work. There's so many people out there that are doing the work and not getting attention for it. But then when you come in and you slide into someone's lane, then it becomes an ego measuring contest, right? It's like, no, I was doing this first. No, I was handling this first. No, I've been out in the forefront doing that. That is when no work gets done. Because when you're too busy worrying about who's in your lane, you're not moving. And that's why we're not making any benefits. So what we need is someone coming from above, putting a spotlight on everybody in their lane and being like, yo, if you really have a problem with this as well too, this is who you should be following. Oh, you want to make a change in this too, but you don't know what you should be doing? This is what you should be signing for too. Oh, you want to know about the MORE Act? Nina Parks is doing something to actually talk about that, doing a Zoom with somebody else. You sign in on this link, sit down, pay attention, learn how you can benefit from it too. Putting a spotlight on what people are doing. Also, minorities in the front as well, what they're doing in different aspects of the field, because for some reason, we're not getting recognition in the industry as well too. Just putting a spotlight to make it that we're all connected. Building community for people to actually have an area to go to as a resource, to eliminate the excuse as to why we aren't growing, why we aren't moving. I would think so. It's when you have a place that is predominantly white dominated and an industry that is not showing open support for people that look like you, would you want to continue and try and be set up for failure? And it's hard. you know, and I think people have to think of it like that. When you are going into a dispensary and you're just going to shop and you look around and the staff looks nothing like you, doesn't even have a bit of diversity in there, do you get the impression that you're going to be in a place that is going to be beneficial for you to succeed? Because I understand, you know, no one can say that when they're applying or they open a shop, a whole row of white people is all that showed up, because that's not how it's going to be. You pick and choose who you want to do. You put in effort to diversify your payroll. And so if you come into a place and that's not shown, which people have eyes and are very aware to that, especially people of color, we kind of have a radar, so, you know, it just goes off, you know. If you get that sensation that it's just not a safe place, why would you want to expand? But that's what I'm trying to do with Coca Rock and Cannabis. I want to create like a hub, you know, like an area where I can collect resumes for people of color who want to say, I want to grow as a grower. I want to be a better cultivator. I want to help out with, you know, marketing. I want to be a buyer. I want to be a bud tender, anything like that. Collect resumes, you know, and then also have businesses come, you know, different dispensaries, different cultivations, different brands, all of that, and say, hey, I'm a business that wants to help grow people of color. I want to get mentors. I want to put I want to get a buyer or a GM, a person of color. I want to be able to diversify my payroll more and show that this is a safe place for people of color to actually grow their career, and then let them do it from there. But like, I feel like right now, especially with the movement going on, how do I say it without like offending? We're in a very sensitive time. And when you have the owners, when you have the managers, when you have majority of the staff all white, it makes you feel like you're not understood fully. And you need to feel like you have a community, and a diverse community, whether they all look like you or all look alike, or look different, I should say, is what is going to project that. So I feel like right now having a location or a community that comes together to show that is the best way right now to be able to kind of express it. Because anybody right now can go on social media and post, we're for Black lives. But can we just leave performance activism like back in 2020? Because I'm really over all of that. Like, anybody can make a post, but it's how are you actually changing it, you know? And I just want action. And I think that's the best way to do it. Put Color Back in Cannabis is designed to eliminate the excuse that everybody has about why they're not supporting people of color in this industry. I'm trying to get rid of that shit. Well, okay, so it starts with the community at the end of the day. If we think that the government is going to help us get any benefit in this industry or actually get a part in it, we're way beyond that. We're way past that part. So it needs to be on us to put pressure onto our dispensaries and our delivery services. You know, ask them, how many equity brands do you have on your shelf? How many brands of people of color do you have on your shelf? How many Black-owned brands do you have? Ask these questions. And if they don't have answers that you like, which should be at least, you know, 2 or 3, because it's not hard, there's plenty of brands out there. You know, if it's not a number that you like, put pressure on them. I mean, we have to remember, I'm not saying I want any brands or anybody to go out of business, because that's never the case. But we have to remember that we are the reason why these businesses stay alive. We're the reason why that their lights stay on. We're the reasons why that they're able to thrive, continue making money, keep putting product on there. If you say that you like a product, wouldn't they want to put it on there to get your dollars? So then encourage them to get more color on shelves. Encourage them to get more color on their menus so that these dollars thrive, so that people are more aware of these brands. That's definitely one step. Number 2, study. Study and be aware of your documents. Study and be aware of your laws and your bills and the things that are happening. It is developing so fast now. There's so much happening on the news right now that they're able to continue developing what's happening for the cannabis industry while all of the bullshit that's happening out on the streets is happening. It doesn't mean that they've stopped. They're not stopping the development of the cannabis legalization. So we need to keep being aware of that and keep reading the fine print. And if you don't understand what they're saying, Google it. Ask a friend. Google each word. Like, put it together in your own like kindergarten version. Like, I've done that. So, you know, kind of understand a little bit more what we're supporting And I think that's how we're going to actually get a part to be able to reform it, because it is designed right now to not so much benefit us as it is to benefit the legal cannabis industry, which is the government. It should be off jump that you have a mandatory equity-owned businesses from jump when you're getting your licenses. Like for instance, for Sacramento, there's 28 storefronts here already, and they're now adding 10 equity-owned businesses or storefronts to the roster. That's going to be 38 storefronts in Sacramento alone. Not to mention the amount of delivery services that we have. That shouldn't have been like that. If anything, it should have been 18 delivery service or storefronts doing whatever they want, and 10 from that demanded to be equity. If anything, if you wanted to put a cap on the 10, which you shouldn't put a cap on it, it should have been incorporated like that. You're making it harder right now for these 10 that are coming into fruition to survive with these 28. You know, so to make it that it's not as much of a challenge, it should be incorporated while they're being there, because you know that every state is going to put a cap. Every state has, or every city has a cap on there. So that cap, at least half of it should be put towards equity. That's the only fairness down there. You need to have equal opportunity to be able to give them a chance to actually thrive in this industry. There's no reason why that we're the highest amount that are in the prison and have the highest criminal records for even being in the industry of cannabis, but then yet white men are 80% owned of it. It doesn't make sense. Lose that, because like you are at the end of the day are the one that's in the way. Like, and I'm not saying that you're not having hurdles. I'm not saying that at all, because they exist. Those people that are racist and that want to get in your way, those blocks, they exist. But you can choose to either let that block be in front of you, or you can jump over it or go around it. You have 3 options. You can go left, right, or over, in my opinion. So don't stop. Lose that mentality that it's not for you. If you feel like you have a spot in this industry, then you'll find it. Like, I came from a whole different state that doesn't even want it right now. That's like barely fighting for medical right now. Okay, like this, I made room for myself in this industry because I knew that I needed to be here. I knew that I had a part in here, that I had something that was going to be part of this development. So I made room for myself. It's on us. So I actually designed the merch. And yeah, I'm kind of about that. That's actually that was the reason why I started the whole thing. I was trying to figure out how to get attention on conversation, how to start a conversation. And I feel like the best way was with merchandise, because I was like, anybody can make an Instagram post. Instagram posts get lost, you know, things like that. Conversations get started when people look at things. You know, when people like see a picture, when they see something in your car, when they see a piece of clothing, you know, they want to know what that's about. Why'd you get that? What's that mean? What's that saying? So I started that, and I started with the t-shirt. Put Coca Rock and Cannabis is on the pocket, and then I have cannabis equality on the back and support minority-owned businesses. And then I was just kind of like my start. Like, you know, I just kind of wanted to like let people know about the mission, and then I advanced to a signature tote bag. That's my favorite, honestly. I don't know, it gets taken everywhere, and I feel like it is designed to start the conversation. People want to know what that means, you know. I feel like it also starts, this is my favorite part too. So this one is white only because of the cannabis, but these are actually designed to be skin tones. So these are just to be able to put like, you know, put color in cannabis. I didn't want to use any other colors because in my opinion, the most beautiful colors are natural melanin. So I was like, that's the palette for Coca Rock and Cannabis. And then we also have a dictionary t-shirt, which is the definition of what Coca Rock and Cannabis is. And then I also have right now, which is my new campaign, my Smoke Loud, Speak Loud hoodie, which is designed to do exactly what it says. Smoke loud and speak loud at the same time. Kind of bringing more awareness to the fact that we're really privileged right now in this industry. And we need to remember that the fact that we have the ability to go and pick up any type of cannabis that we want in any form, anytime that we want. There are still people that aren't able to grow any type of career right now, or pretty stuck because they were just trying to do the same thing that we profit off right now. So in all, we got work to do. So smoke loud, but don't forget to speak loud too. Shoot, I'm slowly trying to become a nonprofit because someone said something to me that really resonated with me and my bank account, honestly. They said that you can't save the world if you were living in a box. And it kind of, resonated with my bank account, heard that real hard. Because I've actually been doing all of this out of pocket, which has been great. I've been blessed with, my day job to be able to fund it, but I am trying to become a nonprofit. Just because I feel like it's gonna be easier to be able to take this to the expansion that I have. Because granted, I've done a lot in less than a year, but I have so much that I could do. And it will happen. It will come. So praying for my nonprofit. If anybody obviously has any information on becoming a nonprofit on that, definitely slide in the DMs on Instagram is really great. I also have my website, www.putcolorbackincannabis.com. And you can reach out to me on there as well. You can go to my collabs page. And hit my collab line, reach out. I'm always down to work with minority-owned businesses, love women-owned, LGBT-owned, things like that. I want to highlight you guys. I want to make sure that you guys are getting attention for doing what you're doing. So reach out. It doesn't hurt to do that. I obviously can't collab with everybody, but I can highlight you guys. So let's do that for sure. Well, here right now in our local Sacramento, we do have Crystal Nugs. It is minority owned, but it's half black owned, so definitely look into them. And then we also have Trees of Knowledge. We have Curing Hands is minority owned here in Sacramento. Black owned pork flower brands. I really do love Fall Friendly Farms. Leaf Presidential is their blunt wrap too. Yep. And then their blunts are fire. They have I'm pretty sure they have hash in them too or something like that. Oh my gosh, they're lit. Of course they're black owned. Let's see. There's a lot of minority owned specifically. I feel like I'm doing more, but I'm just really high. Oh, you can do minority owned too and equity owned. Oh, Peaks is, that's for sure. And then I want to say SF Roots. There we go. SF Roots is. Yeah, I was questioning on that. I want to say that is for sure though. Yeah. And Posh Green for sure. I actually have to link with her. She's a queen. She actually is. She's the real queen because she is the first black-owned woman to be an SF and have her own storefront. Now that's some legit shit. She did it for the women too. That's some legit. And shout out to Miko Banks and Maisha Bahati for being the first double women to be able to get distribution, delivery, and storefront out here in Sac. They're making moves for Sacramento. So we got some amazing black women. I just want to make it clear, black women are out here doing some shit. We are silent but deadly. Sometimes we silent, let's be real, we loud. But we out here making some real moves and be warned, be scared, okay? This, we coming for y'all. Just know that. Big moves coming. My Instagram is putcolorbackincannabis.com. I keep it pretty easy, honestly. It's all right here, because I remember we're all stoners. That's what I do here. So when people say, how can you find me? Just remember, it's these 4 words. But yeah, I also run the Instagram too, so you can reach out to me. Also keep the website. That's always a good way, for official collabs and stuff. But yeah, you can always find me. I'm not hiding.